Rated M for mature.
So you came here because you love the Sniper Elite games. Hey, we get it. So do we. But you clicked this video because you spend more time on your missions running for cover than completing objectives. And it's starting to get on your nerves a little bit. That's okay. We've all been there at some point. So to help you with your Sniper Elite woes, today we are going to transform you into a shadow in the dark. The true embodiment of stealth with these 7 stealth tips you should know. Let's get started. Tip number 1. Do recon. Your first goal in any Sniper Elite mission should be to know where all of your threats are at all times. You can do this by using your binoculars or sniper scope to mark enemies, which allows you to track their movements all over the map, even behind walls. Tip number 2. Get a bird's eye view. If you're like us and you want to load up on sick X-ray kills, you're gonna want a solid sniper perch. Thankfully, each level has at least one area that makes for a great place to post up and pop off. And they tend to be the tallest buildings or most accessible areas. Climbing or otherwise making your way up to the top of one of these areas is our next tip, but that's not all there is to it. Sometimes your ideal sniper perch will be a building that contains, surprise, surprise, a bunch of enemy snipers. So it's possible that you won't even know they're there until it's too late. That's why it's a good idea to always make a habit of keeping an eye out for scope glint. If you can manage to sneak up behind the enemy unnoticed, you can clear out an entire building and have it all to yourself. Tip number 3, sound masking. Hey, look, before you go all trigger happy with your trusty sniper rifle, there's something important you should be thinking about. Sound. If you fire off a bunch of shots while enemies are nearby, you might as well have just set off the alarm yourself. However, there are a few ways you can avoid being heard. Firstly, all weapons have an audible range labeled in their stats. This is the distance at which an enemy can hear a particular gun firing, and it can be modified by equipping silencers and using subsonic ammo with any weapon. The quieter you can make your guns, the safer you'll be in the long run. Now, I hear you. You're thinking, but what about my super powerful rifle that can only have their booming blasts of justice quieted to a moderate degree? Well, there's an option to hide their noise. When you're in an area that has loud noises such as heavy artillery playing, you can actually use it to your advantage. Firing when one of these events is activated will make your rifle shot quiet as a church mouse. If you want to take advantage of these sound masking opportunities, all you have to do is keep an eye out for the sound wave that appears at the top of your screen. And hey, a bonus sound masking tip for all of you. You can sabotage vehicle enemies and generators to produce those sound masking opportunities. The option to sabotage will appear when you are close enough to an interactable object of that type. Tip number 4, stealth takedowns. Sometimes you find yourself in a situation where your sniper skills just won't cut it, but you can also sneak around the map and perform stealth takedowns on enemies. Stealth takedowns have the extreme benefit of being totally silent, but you have to be within arm's reach of an enemy to pull one off. In other words, you have to sneak up right to them, or you could hide around a corner and wait for them to get close enough. It can be a risky move in some situations, especially in an area with, patrolling enemies, but the payoff is definitely worth it. You'll have the option to either knock out or, dispatch an enemy with a stealth takedown, so you can actually leave them alive if you're feeling generous. However, I wouldn't, and neither should you, because unconscious enemies will wake up after a certain amount of time, and they can also be awakened by other enemies, so, it makes more sense just to take them out, if you know what we mean. If you do go this route, just make sure you hide the body. Tip number 5, situational awareness. Carl isn't just a sniper elite. He is an elite all-round soldier. His years of experience have given him heightened senses that are helpful on the battlefield, which you can make use of with Sniper Elite's focus mechanic. Entering focus allows you to see through walls, so you can observe enemy silhouettes and gauge the threat level at any given time. It is an extremely useful mechanic, especially if you're new to Sniper Elite. However, if you're a veteran, don't get too focused on using focus, because if you plan on tackling the toughest difficulty settings, the focus mechanic isn't available. One more note about situational awareness: the on-screen radar. As you make your way around a map, you will see areas that are circled. These circles are supposed to convey areas with a heavy density of enemies. But the intel isn't always perfect. Sometimes it's more dangerous, sometimes it's less, but hey, it's there to let you know where you should be extra careful. Tip number 6, avoid detection. If you didn't know already, this is a stealth game, so you won't get very far if you're fully upright, running around, screaming your head off, guns blazing. Obviously, you're gonna wanna take advantage of techniques and methods designed to avoid detection. You can crouch walk to move quietly, army crawl to get extra low, hide in tall grass, and use cover whenever and wherever it's available. You should know that enemies can't just hear your guns. They can hear you moving around as well. Moving slow makes you quieter, but also makes you more vulnerable. A good sniper elite needs to find the right balance. You can make use of the visible detection range system, the white circle that surrounds the center of the minimap, to know how far away enemies can see you. And if you want to make that white circle smaller, then you have to get low. You have to become a shadow. Tip number 7, go slow. Sniper Elite is a lot like romantic relationships. Trying to rush through them is a great way to ruin them. That's why it's so important to go slow. Take deep breaths. Mastering your breath is important, not just when you're lining up a headshot. If you move with intention, you are far less likely to make mistakes that will result in the alarm being set off. So, hey, take it easy, soldier. Do that, and you'll become a sniper elite yourself in no time. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. If you love Sniper Elite as much as we do, then you're gonna want to see what we're working on. If there are any aspects or mechanics of the Sniper Elite series that you'd like us to cover, let us know down in the comments. And we'll see you sharpshooters in the next one.